What if there are possibilities you are aware of that nobody else is aware of? And what if those possibilities are your brilliance just waiting to be unleashed into the world? As you start to acknowledge more and more the uniqueness of what you know, you start to get that your reality is different from the reality you see around you. When you begin to create your life, living, and reality based on what is true for and vital to you, everything changes. Are you ready to start rocking every area of your life? Welcome to Creating Beyond Reality. Let's join the dynamic conversation of creation and possibility now. Here is our host, creatress of magnitude, Heather Nichols.
Welcome, everybody, to Creating Beyond Reality Radio. This is Heather Nichols, and happy Memorial Day. If you're in the U.S., it's Memorial Day. So a lot of people have a 3-day weekend. And I'm here with the lovely Sylvia Puentes today. Sylvia is, she's an access consciousness facilitator, and she's a creatress of magnitude and just a really amazing being that I love. Every time I get together and chat with Sylvia, I just get really lit up and happy, and a lot gets created. And so we wanted to talk today about potency, turning up and turning on the potency of you is our topic today. So welcome, Sylvia. Glad you're here.
Yay. Well, thank you, Heather. Thank you for the invitation. And what a wonderful topic. I'm so excited about this topic. Turning up and turning on the potency of you and what that is for people, and just sharing a little bit of what it's been for me. So thank you for the beautiful platform you have here to play and share, whether it's the access consciousness tools or just the energy of like infinite possibilities of what else can create. So delighted to be here, so thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, and potency it's a big topic, and I think it's something that gets often sort of misidentified, misapplied, misunderstood, all of that. And what I love about potency, like the topic of potency, is that everybody has different awareness around it, which is really true with everything. I mean, if we really tap into what we know about things, everybody has such different awareness about things. So what I would love to hear from you, Sylvia, for you, what is potency, and how does that show up in your life and in your world?
Yeah. Well, I just want to kind of just go back a couple years when I first started or was introduced to the access consciousness work. I attended a class by Dr. Dane here, and it was an introduction to the Being You class. Was it Being You? Well, energetic synthesis of being. And he calls people up above to on a table where he works on them, but he begins the question like, if you could get anything out of this, what would you like to get? And for me, I couldn't get the word potency out, but there was this energy, like I just knew there was so much more possible. Like the life I had created up to that point, was great. I was happy. There was a lot of things were joyful, and yet I was aware of that there was so much more. So there was this almost a sense of like, not ripping out of my skin, but like I knew there's more. So as I tried to express that, he goes, oh, potency. I'm like, yes. And so what we tapped into in that session was there's a couple things, and one of them was the energy of joy. And the question was, when was the last time you were truly happy? And, if you'd asked me that just right up front, I'd say, oh, well, just a few minutes ago, I thought I was being, pretty happy in my life up until that point. But as he asked me that, and I traced back energetically to that place of, I went back. And once I passed like teenage years, I kept going, I'm all like, there was almost a sense of sadness. And I think I reached maybe about 3 years old where I was like, there's that energy of true joy in that space of play and just, exuberant expression. And so being, if anybody doesn't know who Dr. Dane here is, Heer, please look him up. He does this amazing body work. And in that, what he invited me to tap into was an energy that I knew I had always been, and for whatever reason or circumstances, it was buried on top of stuff. But once I tapped into that, it's like, wow. So when I think of potency, that's one of the energies that also pops up is joy, that exuberant expression of just enjoying life, being in that joy and that wonder and curiosity of what I'd like to do next, what I'd like to create. Maybe it's a hike, and maybe it's a business, or maybe it's being a radio show like today, but it's like that space of joy for me is a big piece of potency.
That is so awesome. I love that. And it's funny, I actually, every once in a while, I kind of a lot, I guess. I have these like spontaneous creations that I just create, and they get created within a few days, and boom, they're rolling. And so right now I'm in the middle of this 5 days of joy, creating from joy telecall that I'm doing. Now, I just created it last week, and we started it on Friday, and tomorrow's the last day, and there's a bunch of people on the call, and we're just getting on the phone every morning and really talking about creation from joy, the space of joy, and being willing to be ridiculous with it, like really creating from ridiculous joy and creating ridiculously and beyond judgment. And I think there is a lot of what we've been talking about is that, there's all these things that people want to create in their lives, and it's like there's no joy anywhere in the mix. Like when you're like, I'm a grown-up now, and I need to create money, and I'm going to create a business, and I'm going to create this, and, and it's like, but there's no joy in the house, like you said. And Access has been that for me too, where I've really started to look at, am I actually joyful? Am I actually happy, with my life as it is? And I've, had those moments too where I've been like, wow, no, actually, I'm not. And what can I change, and what can I add, and what else can I create? And I think for me, choosing from joy and creating joy and just choosing joy, because joy can actually just be an energy that you choose, just like sadness or anything else. It's this energy that is infectious, and it's this amazing invitation, and creation occurs so spontaneously and delightfully and joyfully and ridiculously when we play, when we start with joy.
Exactly. So that is definitely one of the things, and just being in the question, wow, being in the question of what energy you're choosing to be. And, it's something I had never really acknowledged I was, and yet I had a friend who asked me, it's like, Sylvia, what is it that you know? And it was really from the space of curiosity. So I'm asking all your listeners, it's like, what is it that you know that no one else might know, or that no one else knows it the way you know it? And when I was asked that question, and I really just allowed myself to be in that vulnerable space to speak about what I knew that I had never put words to, or never felt maybe even that someone really was curious enough to ask, what I got to was that I knew that things could be easy, and that I knew that there was this space of joy. And so once I put words to that, it's like, wow, when am I being that? And like you said, there's days that it isn't that. And then it's like, hey, what would I like to choose now? Oftentimes the question I ask is, what would be fun for me right now? And it might be jumping in the shower. It might be just stepping outside for a little bit. Whatever it is, it's like, what if we do have the power to change that energy of whatever it is? And it's so funny. I was just yesterday, it was a beautiful day here out in Sonoma County, Northern California, and we have this beautiful town, Hillsburg, which is maybe 10, 15 minutes from my home. And so I knew I had some computer work to do and things I was working on, and I'm like, well, what would I like to do with today? So I drove out to this coffee shop, and I'm there and have my earpiece on. I'm listening to music. I have a couple tabs open, and I have the biggest grin on my face. and you can see people walking in and out, and the people that notice are oftentimes the young kids. So there was this one boy, he kept just looking at me, and I thought, wow, what is he aware of? Because it was just this, so I just like smiled back and just energetically said hello, didn't require any words, but he kept looking over like, wow, what is that? So anyway, so it's just part of sharing that space of joy and willing to create your life at whatever moment, whatever you're doing, whether you're going into the office, whether you have a few minutes to go somewhere, do something. It's like, what if the potency that you be is when you're actually choosing whatever it is, when you know you have choice. In that space, I know for me, when I'm in that space of joy, I am creating at a speed that I often forget that there's so much. So when you said creator of magnitude, it's like, if I really start to kind of list and talk about what I'm creating, it is a lot. And yet that is part of also that exuberant potency that I be. And when I don't have a lot of things I'm creating, life isn't so fun. I've begun to notice.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've been in my little 5-day thing that we're doing. We've been talking about that. There's a quote from Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access Consciousness, and I don't know if I can quote it exactly, but it's basically instead of waiting for inspiration to create to inspire, and that's where, to me, it's like it's so connected to the choice for joy, because I think creation is, this show is, we're always talking about creation. Whatever the topic is, it's like always kind of comes back to creation. Because if you're not creating and like creating new possibilities and new realities and like new things that are fun for you, then it can be depressing and you can feel stuck or slow or whatever. And sometimes the way to get out of it is just to start to create something, and that can be the energy that opens up joy, because there is so much potency in the energy of creation, and for a lot of people who play with this work and who listen to this show, it's like, if you're not, like you said, if you don't have a lot of things going on or you're not creating, it's not joyful. It's not like, there isn't a lot of potency, there isn't a lot of energy just moving, which is what really is fun for us and our bodies even. So
so my question to the listeners would really be like, what would be fun for you to create? And it's also looking at the word create, because I think oftentimes many of us think creates like we're actually gonna maybe build a sculpture or but what if the energy create is just changing? Well, I don't know if it's changing, but maybe you paint your room, maybe you have an idea and you write something, and later maybe it's a chapter of a book. But whatever it is, it's like, what else would you like to add? I have a sister who's very crafty, and her form of creation is like she's painting furniture, she's making jewelry, and that for her is so fulfilling and gets her really excited and lit up. So what if there's no one thing that creation is? So the question is like, what if it's different for each one of us? So it's not even like, do this, but it's like, what is it for you? What's fun for you? Some people really have a lot of fun creating, with their body. And you have people that, do a lot in beautiful sculptured bodies. Like, that's a form of creation. It's like, it can be anything.
Right.
So really
making a meal or, like you said, going outside. What if going for a walk is a creation? And just the willingness to be like, to say hi to nature and to say hi to your body. Like, what if that is the energy of creation, right? And I think so much of the time we judge ourselves we judge ourselves out of creation, right? Rather than like, because we think we have to get it right or whatever, and then that just totally kills the joy.
Yes, and I do recall, actually Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, in the class saying, it's like, well, I don't think I'm really creating a whole lot. I'm doing a few things, and I go to one coffee shop, and at that time there was a lot more flexibility in my schedule, so I was out. I'd go to coffee shop or find beautiful places to go. What makes you think that's not creation? I was like, wow, there's an energy there. So what if, this space of choosing what works for you, choosing what's light and fun for you, is contributing to everything else in your life. And that's the piece that sometimes it's hard for us to wrap our minds around, because it's like you think, well, I'm not really doing anything, and yet there's an energy there. So, times I get caught in the do, like I got to finish this, I got to complete that. And it's like, whoa, wait, am I having fun? And sometimes it is just changing my environment or asking a new question of what else? You know, is there something that's asking to be changed? So the gift of the Access Consciousness tools, I find, is often being in the question, being willing to change and willing to choose something different. So those three pieces can add to that energy, what I find potency, and much, much more. There's actually another piece I really wanted to share. I may now. I didn't. Around potency. and that's the piece that on this planet, and, you know, let me know, Heather, for you or anyone on the chat, it's like, you know, we haven't almost been given permission to acknowledge ourselves, to be grateful for ourselves, to inspire ourselves. So it's like that invitation that as I mean, sometimes it's the funniest little things that I'll complete or I'll do, and I'm cheering myself on. I'm all, woohoo! And, you know, I have a 16-year-old son. The moment he walks in, I'm letting him know. He's like, okay, Mom. So what has been, so, you know, but he knows. It's like I do get this joy and this exuberant expression about the little things in life that continue to energize what else I'm creating, the next thing that I'm doing. And it is often made wrong. Someone just said on the chat, it's made wrong. And I'm so grateful. My 16-year-old son has also been playing with the tools. And I remember a couple of years ago, I picked him up from school, and he goes, Mom, can I brag about something? And I thought, wow, that's what we call it. It has this kind of connotation as negative, and you don't do it. So he was asking for permission. I'm all like, of course. So he went on and on about this creative writing class that he was in and what had shown up for him. And I thought, wow, that's the space of really being proud of yourself and being in joy and gratitude. And I'm grateful, had a space to share it with me. But I think, wow, what would it take for us to have that all the time, everywhere we go? So it's like that, yeah. So, you know, what if today, if you're not acknowledging the gifts that you be and whatever it is that you're choosing, it's like, what would it take for us to acknowledge ourselves and just, you know, pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hug. It's like, awesome. And what else? If it's not working for you, then what else? But that space of acknowledgement, that brilliance of you, you know, that no one else possesses but you, is such an energy that contributes to the potency, you know, of what you're creating, of who you're being out in the world, that I do share that for myself quite a bit. See, and sometimes it's just for me, just for fun. You know, I might not be plastering it everywhere, but like, what if that could be the invitation now for everyone?
Say the last part of that again.
What if that could be an invitation for everyone?
For everyone, yes, totally. And I think that's a big piece of potency. Really, is like we call this turning on and turning up your potency. So what if turning up your potency is the willingness to be that space of gratitude for you, and to be that space of joy, and to be the difference, right? Because in this world, like, it's about trauma and drama, it's about struggle, it's about sadness, it's about, you know, not being too full of yourself. Like, there's all this judgment that we have. And it's like people are so hungry for a different possibility. And the thing is, what I've seen is that when it comes to really being willing to turn up my potency, it's like I've got to be willing to be that with me, for me, no matter what. And when I'm willing to be that space of gratitude for me and joy, it is a huge invitation. People may or may not choose it. Like, they might judge me. They might, you know, be inspired. And it's kind of none of my business, right? It's like, are you willing to be that for you? Simply because that is the greatest gift that you can be with you. And that's the energy of gratitude and joy and potency, and the willingness to shine are their energies of creation that will bring you more in your life. no matter how you're received from other people. So,
Exactly.
yeah, so everything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy it and create it. Right, Roy, bet all night, talk about short beyond. That's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. If you've never heard that before, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and find out more about it, but it just moves energy. So we're at a first break, and I wonder where we're going to go next. We'll be back with you in just a couple minutes.
If you were living the life of your dreams, what would it be like? Are you ready to start creating it and beyond? What if the most brilliant life, living, and reality is available to you now, and all that is required of you is to choose to acknowledge the brilliance that you be? In Creating Beyond Reality radio show with creatress of magnitude Heather Nichols, we take a look at the reality you would truly like to have in different areas of your life and empower you with practical tools, information, and inspiration to start creating it now. Tune in to Creating Beyond Reality every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Central Time, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on A2Zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is Creating Beyond Reality radio show with Heather Nichols. We would love to hear your voice and your questions. To participate, ask questions, and join the conversation, please dial in the U.S. 815-880-8255. That's 815-880-TALK. Or in Canada, 613-800-8736. Or Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You are also welcome to send your questions to Heather via email at heather@heathernichols.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Creating Beyond Reality Radio, and this is Heather Nichols. Today, we're here with Sylvia Puentes and talking about turning on and turning up your potency. So, really fun conversation so far. I wonder where we're going to go. And, you know, one of the things that I've always seen, and I think I did this for a long time too, that one of the places where potency gets really sort of misapplied, misunderstood, is there's a lot of talk in Access Consciousness about the willingness to be judged, which we were just sort of touching on. You know, there's so many places in our life where we stop ourselves based on the potential judgments of other people. And I think this is a huge piece of this, like the willingness to turn up your potency is like to be willing to be judged. And we just started to kind of go there before the break. And one of the things that I've seen a lot of people sort of, I think, well, and for me, I'll just speak for myself. One of the things that I was looking at for a while with potency, it was almost like I had this sense that if I was willing to be a bitch, then I was potent. Like the potency, you know, the potency sort of had this like edge to it and this like, you know, woman power kind of thing, you know, that was really more like a resistance and reaction to everybody around me than it was actual potency. So I'm just curious, if you've run into that at all, Sylvia, or maybe it's just me, but it's been interesting with this topic.
Well, there's that piece, and exactly what you're saying about, so how many of us are either resisting or aligning and agreeing to either we have to be that bitch or we can't, and we're resisting what we've misidentified as potency. So it's this place where we're never truly being us. We're just either resisting or avoiding to be something or not. So,
yeah,
so it's like, so what, for everyone listening, it's like, what have you made potency mean that it isn't? Mm-hmm. That if you were willing to let go of that, would actually create more ease to just choose whatever energy is required in the moment. Yeah. And anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and then create all that times a gazillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, online, hodgepodge, short stories, and beyond. Yeah, so awesome. I know that you used the clearing statement, and awesome, because it is an incredible tool for clearing that blocked up energy that we have. And you don't even have to know what it is cognitively, and just notice an energy comes up, and then it's like, okay, whatever that is. So I was one of those that actually labeled potency as anger. And anger, that energy, I labeled it as wrong. And so oftentimes, anger is also an energy we misidentify as a wrongness. And oftentimes, it can be a potency to change what isn't working for you. So simply ask the question, is this potency or is this anger or something else? But you will know. Yeah. And I've begun to really notice that energy when it comes up for me, and I say play with it because it's new for me. And it doesn't mean it has to come out with a scream or a yell. And sometimes it may. And there's been moments, with my son that it's been a very firm, like, hey, this doesn't work. This needs to stop, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, but it's a potency. I'm not making him wrong. I'm letting him know what doesn't work for me. It's almost like the space of honoring me that's different than what I was willing to be before. And,
one of the things...
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, one of the things that I've realized with my kids is, because I used to ask this question a lot in classes, where I'd be like, how can I, when my kids get really, really crazy, what can I do to stop that's not yelling, And Gary, Douglas, and Dane here, I think I probably asked that question 4 times in different classes, and all 4 times they were like, what's wrong with yelling, And it's not like they were telling me to yell at my kids, but it's like, if you have a judgment of that, you can't, it's not a tool that you can use, and it actually is quite effective. And what I've discovered is that if I yell at from the space of potency, I'm injecting this an intensity into the picture, that changes the energy. And if I do it from the space of awareness of what's required, and also from potency rather than anger, then I could literally yell at them to stop, fighting or whatever, and they'll stop. And 10 seconds later, I could be snuggling with them, laughing with them, tickling with them, whatever. Yes. And so it's like there's no, it's anger when you've got a hangover, when the anger, you yell and you're angry for minutes and hours and days or whatever afterwards, right? It's potency when it's just oh, here's an energy that I can play with. Boom. What else? Now, what's required now in this 10 seconds? It might be very different than what was required 10 seconds ago.
And Heather, yes, that space of, if you notice you have a judgment or a point of view that, whether it's I shouldn't yell or I shouldn't this or I need to do this, if you notice that's there, the gift of the clearing statement is that you get to clear that. And then it is a choice. You could be, wow, what's required here? And it might be total vulnerability and kindness. It might be no words and just the space of being present. And that can change the energy. So it's when we're willing to not have a judgment or conclusion of I should always do this, then there is choice and things change and move so much quicker, which I am so grateful for, with my son and our relationship. And with things at work or people that I, work with around the world. It's like there is a level of ease in creating that otherwise I don't think would really be there. And I love the way you use the hangover piece. So I'm going to have to steal that one. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's how I started to really get, like, am I being angry? Like, am I using this, like, the distractor of anger, or am I just being potent here? And that's what, finally after asking the same question 4 times to 2 different people and getting the same response, I was like, okay, let me just look at this here. And I got out of my resistance to it. And now, like, there's an energy that I can pull in that is, a potency, that it's a demand for something to change, that when I be that with my kids, like, it just changes everything really fast and nobody has to hang on to anything, So, and I think it really ties in because I was just in the chat, Keisha asked a question, does potency require willingness to have your awareness, which is basically what we've been talking about. But I wanted to I love that question because it really highlights, it highlights this in a really succinct way. It's like, what if potency is what if you could have any energy available to you to play with and to use to create more? And if you don't have judgment of any energy, then you have all of those energies sort of at your fingertips, right? And then your awareness of what's required in any given moment, your awareness will let you know what it is what energies you can play with to create a different possibility. So I love that.
I thank you for that. And even just looking at your title of your radio show, it's like Creating Beyond Reality. It's like, what if, we're each aware of a different possibility. So it's like that space of your awareness of what's possible. When you're aware of that and you don't turn it off or turn it down because of what people around you are saying is possible, or maybe they say it's ridiculous, and yet it is possible, and you continue to be in the question, how, where, when, what, when that moment will be, or how you'll actually bring it into, how you'll actualize it. It's like that is potency as well. When you're willing not to turn it down or turn it off, and that for me too, it's this ongoing question. It's like, what is it that I know here? Because I definitely grew up turning myself down, making someone greater, someone else's knowing, whatever it was. And so the potency that I've really stepped into is that question, what is it that I know here? And what would I like to see and create? So what if, it is just playing with the question, and the answer might not come right away, but you're inviting yourself to tap into that. Or oftentimes, so many of us are like, well, I don't know. It's so automatic, for people to say, kids and adults, I don't know. It's like, okay, well, what if we switch that and we switch it to, what is it that I do know? Yeah. And just let that space be there. What do I know? What is it that I would like to see out in the world? And just play with that. So, potency can also be soft, and it's this energy of, it's like it can be intense, and it can also be soft. It can be so many things. So for all of you listening, it's like, would we be willing to destroy and then create everything we've defined potency is, that it isn't? Okay. And everything doesn't allow that times the God's billion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, pike, shorts, boys, and beyond. And what if also that potency is when you really begin to perceive, know, be, and receive you. And the gift that you be. And not turn it down. And really just step into it more. And just find more playful, fun ways to express that out in the world. It's almost an unstoppable energy. It's like nothing in the way. It's like, okay, what else?
Totally. Yeah. We were talking this morning on the call that I'm doing, Creating from Joy. We were talking about how somebody was asking about, well, okay, so I was in this amazing expanded space yesterday, and then I started hanging out with a friend, and I kind of like went into her reality, and and so he was asking, like, what can I do to like really stay with what I know and who I be and my energy. And I was saying, it's like if we didn't go into other people's universes and their judgments and their limitations and buy them as real and, orient around them and all of that, it's like we would just create, right? It's like that's the thing that stops us from everything, is like what's the judgment that we're going to get from the outside or the...
And that's so outside this reality, what you just said, Heather, because in this reality, it's about how can I connect to the people that I'm with. And oftentimes when we go to connect people, it's like, oh, yeah, I get that. And we go to try to figure it out or find a way to match it, with our lives. And we believe that that's connection. And what if that is connection in one way, and what other option is there? It's like, okay, what if the space of allowance for people to be choosing and have whatever they have is a space for us not to buy into their reality or need to go into it? So one of the incredible tools in Access Consciousness, super simple, super pragmatic, and you pull it out whenever you need it. I say almost, 355 days a year, and it goes like this. So say you are, sitting with your friend and they're in their trauma drama. I mean, one, you have a choice, how long you're going to be there. And two, it's like in your head, you say, interesting point of view, you have that point of view. Mm-hmm. Interesting point of view, you have that point of view. And if you notice stuff come up for you, you can say, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And that tool, as simple as it is, it allows you to be in the space of allowance and not have to figure them out, not have to understand them, not have to connect to their reality, rather just go, wow, that's what it is for them. Cool, nothing I need to do. And that, I know for myself, was a tool that I've used to kind of just to begin to stay in the energy, space, and consciousness that I be that oftentimes is different. And what else is possible?
And that
use the tool.
Yeah, totally. And that is, allowance is an incredible potency, right? The space of really being willing to allow people to be who they be without judgment, without wanting to change them, without thinking that you need to help them, fix them, but just really allowing people, including you, yourself, to be who you be without judgment. That is also beyond this reality. This reality, like our world, our culture, whatever you want to call it, it's so oriented around judgment as the source for change. And judgment doesn't create change. We think that if we judge something enough that it'll change or someone, but it's actually the thing that locks things into place even more. And so it's like when you're willing to let go of judgment, go beyond it, into that space of allowance, it's this, in some ways, for some people, it's almost like a foreign energy, of like, wait a minute, and some people might be very uncomfortable. Like I've definitely had people be very uncomfortable with me, this space of allowance that I be with them, because people expect judgment, right? I mean, connection in this reality is all about judgment. So for some people, it is just this like balm, this like soothing balm that, changes everything and allows them to just relax into the space of no judgment. That is a totally different possibility and a very potent invitation to something different. Yeah.
How does it get any better?
So I know. So before we go to our next break, what do you know all of you guys listening, what is it that you know about allowance and how you could be with yourself and with other people that would actually be the different possibility that the world is asking for? And just play with that, ponder that, look at it, and see what you are aware of. So we are going to take our second break, and we will be back with you in just a minute.
If you were living the life of your dreams, what would it be like? Are you ready to start creating it and beyond? What if the most brilliant life, living, and reality is available to you now? And all that is required of you is to choose to acknowledge the brilliance that you be. In Creating Beyond Reality radio show with creatress of magnitude Heather Nichols, we take a look at the reality you would truly like to have in different areas of your life and empower you with practical tools, information, and inspiration to start creating it now. Tune in to Creating Beyond Reality every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Central Time, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on A2Zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is Creating Beyond Reality radio show with Heather Nichols. We would love to hear your voice and your questions. To participate, ask questions, and join the conversation, please dial in the U.S. 815-880-8255. That's 815-880-TALK. Or in Canada, 613-800-8736. Or Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You are also welcome to send your questions to Heather via email at heather@heathernichols.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Heather Nichols, and you're listening to Creating Beyond Reality Radio. And I'm here today with Sylvia Puentes talking about potency, turning on and turning up your potency. One of the things, Sylvia, that I wanted to touch on specifically with you is ease, the potency of ease. I love watching you create and just having conversations with you. You create so much ease and with so much ease, and that is such a potency. Ease is also one of those things that's kind of not allowed in this reality. Like, we have to work hard, and there's value in working hard, and if we're not working hard, then, we're not doing it right or whatever. And there's this beautiful invitation that you be with that energy of ease. So what can you share with us about that?
Wow, yes. And it's a little bit of everything we've shared. The ease in my world is the space of knowing that it's always going to get better. Like it's knowing that nothing is permanent. And it's knowing that you can keep asking for more. That is an energy that has been present in my life, not always as clear. From a young age, it's like, okay, well, what else? And there is this ease when you're not judging yourself, when you're being in the space of gratitude for you, things show up. And when you begin to trust you and trust that the universe has your back, it's not like it's easy, but there's this ease in knowing that. whether things show up and it gets a little challenging, a little rocky, it's like you just have this ease. Okay, what next? The space of joy contributes to that. The space of gratitude contributes to that. And, Heather, thank you for that. And yes, that's actually a big part of how I choose to live my life. And it has been a judgeable offense in my family and some friends and my ex-husband. And whether I've created businesses, it's like, Sylvia, you need to have a business plan. You need to do that. I'm like, wow, that doesn't sound fun. And yet I had waiting lists of people that were signing up. So it's like, what is that for you? What is that space of ease? And I am choosing that space of joy, that space of ease every day. In the moment it's not present, I know I can change it. And so, this might be a space for me or something to explore a little more to bring words to it. But things get created pretty easy. Things show up. I'm working with someone who lives out in Guatemala right now, and it was interesting. I had been asking for playmates and people to contribute to my business, and all of a sudden when I met her, I'm like, whoa, this is the energy I was looking for. Wow. So it's like, what if the universe is delivering exactly what you're asking for? And if you don't have what you're asking for in your life, what can you change? Maybe it's changing to a different question. Those are just the piece of it. And so thank you for that, Heather.
Thank you.
Did that give you a little sense of the energy?
Yes, totally. And, I think that it's like, if we remember, this has been really up in my world lately, just remembering that questions create. Like when we ask questions and we choose new energies, that creates something. And I think because for those of you who are not familiar with access consciousness, there are one of the great tools is asking questions, and really asking questions to receive awareness beyond what you are currently aware of. So you're asking the universe, hey, show me new energies, show me new possibilities. And I really, the ease of asking questions is so powerful. And you be the space of that, and you just sort of showed us that. It's like, if you know that every question you ask, it actually goes out into the universe and creates an energy. Like the universe goes, okay, cool. I'm going to start creating toward that on your behalf, whatever, rearranging, whatever needs to happen in order for that to get created. And the universe is like, I'm on it, And then a lot of times when we go to conclusion where we're like, it's not happening, it's not fast enough, I'm frustrated, nothing's changing, we literally slam the door on the ease that we've just opened up, and by asking questions. And so one of the things that I've been playing with so much is really just not allowing myself to ever slam the door. No frustration, no conclusion, question, 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 and to know that every single question I've ever asked has set something in motion in the universe that I may not even be aware of yet, but it's happening. And if I just keep going and having fun and keep asking questions, everything will continue to get created with ever increasing ease. And that is such a potency that we refuse because of our, point of view that it has to be hard.
Exactly. And another question, if I can leave your audience with, that I play with a lot in that space of continuing to create this life with ease, it is continuing to choose what feels light and expansive. And it's not a cognitive piece. And I'm so grateful for the Access Consciousness tools. And this question is one I use a lot. If I choose this, whatever it might be, what will my life be like in 5 years? And you perceive the energy. Does it feel light and expansive? And then you look on the other side. It's like, okay, truth, if I don't choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? And in my life, I am choosing what's light and expansive. So that is one of the questions, or two of the questions that I use a lot. And what if we are aware of what our choice will create in the future? And energetically. All the details, how we may never know, but it's like that's what I'm choosing more, and I invite you all. And just one other piece, I know we're getting close to the end, that I'd like to add in this title of, turning up and turning on your potency. Some of the energy that gets played with is just turning on, right? But this space of being sexy, this space of willing to choose to be that energy of feeling good, walking tall. It's like, that's sexy. Would you be willing to be sexy? Whether people, and not turn it down, but turn it up and just be all of you in the joy that you know you be, and that, whether it's kindness or whether it's just knowing what it is that you know is possible and continuing to choose what's light and sun for you, no matter what anyone says. Like, that's a beautiful invitation that I continue to remind myself of. So I'm just grateful that everyone listening has been playing here. So thank you, Heather.
That is so awesome. I love that. Yeah, that's like another one of those energies that people want, and whether they want it or not, it's like, will you have it? Will you play with it? Will you have the fun that nobody else is having? Because they may or may not choose it, but you can, So, yeah. So, Sylvia, if people want to get in touch with you, where can they go? And do you have anything coming up that people can play with, or people can play with you more?
Well, yeah, it's been really fun for me. Something I've been choosing more and more is that for some of you that know me, that I'm bilingual, so I speak Spanish and English. So I've been actually playing with the Access Consciousness tools in Spanish. So if you or anyone you know speaks Spanish, or you want to just tap into the energy, I play on a Spanish radio show that I do weekly. I also do many of my classes. I have a website, and it's called Siendo la Doña. It's SIENDOLADONA.com. And on that page, it's just, there's a lot of classes I'm offering in Spanish, and it's this energy of being all of you, and it's an invitation of this doña. It's like, are you willing to ask and know that you'll receive everything you ask for? And it's been really fun to play in that platform with men and women. So it's been fun to do that in Spanish. In English, everything from bars, foundation level 1. A great place to go is the Access Consciousness website. You can also look for me as Sylvia Puentes, at accessconsciousness.com. I do have an online intro, we call a Taste to Access, and it's called Simple Tools to Boost Your Energy, and it's a 1-hour free taster for people looking to know more about what the access tools are, and for people that are already familiar. It's like, what can we create on this call together in 1 hour? Like, what are those simple tools to boost our energy? Oftentimes, there's moments where we're feeling heavy and just overwhelmed, and it's like, this is an invitation to begin to play with that. So that's something I recently created out of a summit that I was on, and inviting people to play. So those are two places, the Access Consciousness website and siendoladoña.com are fun places. I'm also on Facebook, so feel free to friend me. I have 2 pages, both are Sylvia Puentes, so you can just tap in and see if anything there invites you to continue to play online or in person. So and things are always getting created. Who knows what will be next? So
I know.
What would be fun?
Who knows? Yeah.
And in person,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's some travel dates coming up in the future. So out to Central America, possibly Spain in November. We're looking at some of those dates. So just some fun places. Cool. And San Diego, I'll be in the area soon as well. So let me know what would be fun for us to create. So,
cool.
What else?
Thank you so much, Sylvia, for being here. And we got to go. So have a great week, everybody. I'll be back next week with Lisa Murray, more on creation. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us for Creating Beyond Reality Radio Show with Creatress of Magnitude, Heather Nichols. Tune in again next Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Central Time, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on A2Zen.fm for more dynamic creation. Until then, what can you choose and create that would have the life, living, and